Hi, I'm Lee Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. So, ranking the album tracks. Time for another one in the series of ranking the tracks. So, coming up to an anniversary, I had this written in my diary, looking forward to doing it. So, released the 22nd of March 1982, The Number of the Beast, Iron Maiden. Groundbreaking album. So this is actually, 39 years old, this album. Absolutely mental. So released on 22nd of March 1982 on EMI. First album, obviously, with Bruce Dickinson. So how did this do chart-wise? So it topped the UK album charts, #1. Top 40 in the US. Sold 14 million copies as of 2010. So huge album for the band, huge success, and obviously they went on to become even bigger. So controversy, especially in the US because of the artwork. Great artwork by Derek Riggs, absolutely amazing artwork. Like I said, controversy calls across the world, but especially in the US. Eddie controlling the devil controlling a little person down below him. Amazing artwork. Just man, I just can't explain. We go on about artwork. This could have been in my recent show of, best artwork albums. There's so many to choose from Maiden. This is one of the iconic covers. Absolutely brilliant. Just a bit of trivia for you. This is actually the Purgatory cover. It's going to be used for the single for Purgatory, which is off the Killers album, I think. But Derek Riggs and the manager Rod Smallwood thought it was just too good to use for a single, and it became the Number of the Beast cover. This is all off of Wiki, by the way, so it's probably a load of bollocks, but that's where I get most of my information. So, only album with songwriting credits from Clive Burr. Clive Burr would leave the band after this album. And first writing credits for Adrian Smith, who joined for Killers but didn't write anything. So recorded and mixed in 5 weeks. I think it was done in that short space of time because of the preparation for the actual songwriting took so long, and they had a short space of time to do the recording. But what an amazing, amazing album it came out. So brilliant production from Martin Birch. Great, considering all the bands around that time, you think about some of the production that was on them albums. I mean, now you listen to it, maybe compared to today's standards, but still really holds up brilliantly. In fact, this one, Peace of Mind and Power Slave, I think is where it was the height of the production for Maiden, even compared to now. I prefer the production back then. So there you go. A lot of things happening apparently. Don't know if it was all hype for the actual album sales itself, but saying the stories around the press saying that things were going wrong, and the band was saying equipment was breaking down because of all this don't know about the devil stuff going on with the album, making it the album. And then they had a car which actually culminated in a car accident with a load of nuns. I think one of their vans or something, the manager's van, it hit the nun's car or something like that, had a crash, and the actual bill from the garage was £666. There you go. Another great bit of knowledge for you coming from me. So I'm gonna rank the tracks now. This I'm so used to it. I've played this album millions of times. It's just ingrained in my brain. So I did go over the tracks again just quickly, but just to listen to certain bits. But it was quite easy doing this. I think I've always liked the tracks, in this order I'm going to tell you that I like them in. I think they've not much has changed over the years, even since I was a kid when I first got this album. So it was quite an easy one for me for once. So there's 8 tracks to talk about. I'm going to talk about the original release because that's what came out on the 22nd of March 1982. So you're not going to get me mentioning the brilliant Total Eclipse song, which I would have loved to, but it wasn't on the original release. So there you go. Right, 8 tracks to talk about. Some of these picks might be quite obvious. You know, some of the weaker tracks that have, over the years, have been known as the weaker tracks, probably are for me as well. But there might be some surprises along the way as well. So, track 8, Gangland. Probably known as the weakest tracks, or one of the weakest tracks on the album. I agree with that, but I'm not saying it's a bad track at all. Very different than the rest of the album, a different sound altogether, really. You know, maybe would have fitted with some of the older stuff, with Di'Anno, maybe. Although I don't think Di'Anno could have reached the heights that Bruce does on this song. Probably the least favourite for most fans. Like I said, great drums though from Clive Burr, amazing musicianship. Even though this is probably a weak song for Maiden, I think a lot of bands would have loved this in their repertoire. Do you know what I mean? That's just the heights that Maiden were hitting at that time. Love the part at 1.5 minute mark where that sort of melancholy type bit comes on and Bruce sort of sings over it, changes it up a little bit. And then lovely guitar work just gone the 2 minute mark. And Bruce lets out that amazing scream and it goes into the solo. That's my favourite part of the song. Gangland is my number 8. Number 7, the opening track, Invaders. So this is not as bad as a lot of fans and, you know, critics say, but not obviously the best Maiden song. Fast, frenetic, probably Iron Maiden, you know, an opening track should be on an album. The introduction obviously to Bruce Dickinson, and I love Bruce's voice, so I think it was, you know, you get a lot of fans preferring Paul Di'Anno than Bruce. Most fans prefer Bruce, but you can sort of, you know, if you are into that punky type attitude, then you're going to like Di'Anno better. Bruce is the opposite. He's, you know, theatrical. He's classically sort of sounding trained. You know, he's a brilliant vocalist. I Bruce all the way. So great bass playing from Steve Harris. Let's not forget, apart from amazing songwriter, what a great actual bass player he is. Absolutely amazing. I actually named him in my fantasy band a little while ago. Chorus is probably the weakest part about this song. It's probably the bit that takes the most stick from fans. It doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean? It's probably the weakest part of the song. Invaders is my number 7. Right. Forging ahead to number 6. Number of the Beast. The single. So, I mean, I was thinking when I was doing this, is it that I've heard these songs so many times, especially Number of the Beast? But it's not, because I've felt the same sort of way, like I said at the beginning, about these tracks. The ones that were at the top have been at the top for years and years and years. And that's like since I first heard the album. So it's definitely, you know, it's not overplaying that's causing me to put this song at the bottom of the list, or bottom-ish. So mental. I remember when I was a kid hearing that bit at the beginning, the narrating bit, scared the shit out of me. You know, puts loads of images in your mind. A great song. I mean, maybe it is overplayed a little bit for me now. If, you know, I had the choice of hearing this song and others on this album, it would be the others, because I just heard it so much. Great scream from Bruce at the beginning. Just his, you know, it was like his sort of signature thing, really, wasn't it? Great video, playing bits of, I think it was the werewolf, I think, going around the moors in that old Universal or Hammer horror sort of film. Absolutely amazing video. I love some of the older videos that Maiden put out. Number 6 is Number of the Beast. Number 5, the other single, Run to the Hills. So, very different sounding song. I think that's why I put it above Number of the Beast. It had a real different sound, lots of twists and turns, different from any other band you would hear at the time. Changes from that iconic beat at the beginning into that Maiden gallop, iconic Maiden gallop as well. Obviously, fun to sing along to live. You know, I suppose some fans would be, you get like some fans that say they want them to play something completely different. Some fans think it wouldn't be the same if they didn't hear this at the end of the night. I'm sort of go along with that. If I want to see Maiden, which I ain't going to see them much, God knows when I'm going to see them next, but if I'm seeing them every few years, I want them to play Run to the Hills. It's just fun. So I remember headbanging actually at school disco to this. I was obviously, it was 13, 14, 15 years old, and I was the only one up there. I bet they was all really taking the piss out of me. All them new romantics probably at the time, and I was there in my cut-off denim jacket, head banging, with hair down here at school, just giving it some. Yeah, I mean, look at me now. I really wish I had hair. I really wish I had hair, man. So, Run to the Hills is my number 5. Okay, number 4, The Prisoner. Not a prisoner, I'm a free man. So, love this song. Clive Burr, amazing part at the beginning. You know, they got that little bit from the TV show at the beginning. So this is based on as Maiden do a lot. They base a lot of their songs on films or books. This is from the TV show The Prisoner, an old, I think it was 60s, was it? 60s show. I still, on that kick drum part, I still bang my steering wheel in the car. I still bang my steering wheel to this day. Absolutely amazing. Really catchy chorus actually in this. I love the chorus in The Prisoner. One of the most probably melodic parts of the album, without a doubt. That's my number 4. Now we're getting serious. We go to number 3. An underrated song. I've heard some poor things said about this song. I think it's amazing. Children of the Damned. So, like I said, some people not too keen on this. I love it. Almost a ballad, but a really heavy one at that. Nice light and shade throughout this song. Goes from soft to heavy, which, you know, Maiden just were amazing at doing and still are. Great soaring vocals. I love the change up at 2:20 with them great lyrics, you know, peeling the skin from his eyes and all that. Really, like, them lyrics really get to you. You're thinking the pain of that person. Absolutely amazing. Children of the Damned is my number 3. Number 2, I'll tell you what, even though most of this list was easy, the 2 and 1 could be interchangeable. Number 2 is 22 Acacia Avenue. 22 today! So this was a sequel to Charlotte the Harlot from the debut album. Love the epic twists and turns throughout this. Great lyrics. I remember feeling a bit naughty listening to this song when I was younger. I love, like, it's really cool because it's quite graphic, I suppose, especially for back then. Mind you, it's probably more fucking graphic now. You know what I mean? You put these lyrics in the song now, because it's a metal band, they'll probably have their asses fucking kicked. I'm going to go, yeah, sorry. But, you know, you can fucking shake your ass, you know, live and fucking simulate sex with someone if you're in a fucking stupid fucking R&B or pop band or something. But you can't, if you're a metal band, you just, anyway, forget it, I'm rambling. Anyway, so I love the part where I said I felt a bit fucking naughty listening to this song, but when Bruce goes on about what all the things you can do to Charlotte. And then after that, which is quite an amazing contrast, you think that's, you know, that's a bit fucking graphic. And then it goes into that real melancholy solo, like the opposite of what Bruce has just been saying. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing, sort of the feeling of that song, that feels that song gives me a great. But then I go to my number 1, and it might be a bit of a, it could be a lot of people's choices out of this album. I'm not saying it's my favourite Maiden song, but it's my favourite song at the moment on Number of the Beast, and that's Hallowed Be Thy Name. So I think this sums up what Iron Maiden become after, you know, Di'Anno left, and this was just the staple. Like, this is what we're going to be. We've changed. We're an amazing, epic, slightly progressive sort of band. So much energy in this song. It just builds and builds and builds and builds. You know, from the beginning, from that tolling of the bell part, and then just things that come in my mind when I was a kid, especially a kid, reading the lyrics to this, listening to it. Lyrically a masterpiece as well as musically. I remember trying to emulate the running low part that Bruce did when I was a kid, but I could never get to the end of it without taking a breath. It's just like, fuck. I try to do it now, actually. If this comes on in the car, I do it now, but I'm fucking useless. I do try. I can't go as high, obviously, but so progressive in nature, this song. The chorus, I mean, if you think about it, the chorus, they didn't stick to the fucking formula, and they still don't, Maiden, do they? Look, the chorus only came in, the title of the song only came in at the end, you know, and then it was just, was it a chorus? Probably wasn't. It's just, it didn't matter. The rules didn't matter. They just did what they wanted to do, and it becomes so stuck in your head and melodic anyway. Amazing thing to do. You can do that with so many different twists and turns, but still become so catchy and melodic. That's why they're different than anyone else, Maiden, and that's why they're a trendsetter. People, you know, still to this day, even thrash bands, you know, all these progressive bands, and they all took something from Maiden. Queensryche took something from Maiden. They all did. They were the pioneers of this stuff. True heavy metal band, you know, over time, if you're looking at it, are they my favourite band of all time? You know, they've had some poor albums in the discography, but over time, if I actually thought about it, they might be my favourite band. I'm not really sure. It's one I've got to battle myself with. This is definitely not my favourite album by Maiden, by the way. And it's a lot of people's favourite album, but definitely not for me. The next two for me were the ultimate Maiden albums. So there you go. And you know how I feel about Number of the Beast, but it's very close. It's probably my third. But there you go. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my track ranking, and congratulations to the anniversary of Number of the Beast. I'll see you next time.